Shane, since you've gotten here, tight end room's been kind of a committee approach. When you were in Philly, you kind of had like one lead guy. What are the advantages to having maybe like a go-to top flight pass catcher that position?
I think I mentioned a little bit earlier, I like our tight end room right now, but, when you have, a guy like an elite guy that, can be dominant on third down, I think that really helps your football team.
Chris mentioned that your middle of the field needed to be better offensively. Do you kind of look at that?
The middle of the field?
Yeah, Chris said that you guys need to be better in the middle of the field offensively. Do you kind of view that as tight end, as an area?
Yeah, that could definitely help. Obviously, tight ends, you throw them over the middle. Obviously, you can throw them sail routes and stuff. But, yeah, those tight ends over the middle can definitely help you.
How do you think Anthony's handled the offseason, obviously now with it being a quote-unquote open competition?
Yeah, I think he's been great. We had those conversations at the end of the year about it, and he was great with it, and he's working his tail off right now, down in Florida, getting better, working on the fundamentals, so I'm excited to get him back in April.
What are the biggest strides you want to see from him with another full off season?
I think the biggest thing, going into year 3 is just continue to take that next step, just being that leader, as a quarterback in that room. And then obviously the fundamentals, the details, and we talk about just getting that completion percentage up and just taking those easy completions as we get going.
Tim, passing offense, how can the different skill sets of Pitt, Josh, and Alec maybe kind of grow in concert again in 2025?
Well, all three of them had over 800 yards, which was pretty impressive. And I think that continuity with those three guys, and those guys continue to work and getting the reps, will be huge. You know what I mean? A lot of those guys are going. Josh going into year 3. Alex taking another step. Obviously, AD. Getting AD into year 2. Ultimately, talented player. That we're excited for in year 2, and then Pittman, obviously, what he's been doing has been phenomenal. So I'm excited for all those guys.
I know you're sort of limited on what you can do in contact with players now.
Yeah.
Off-season opens April
21st.
Okay.
Yeah, April 21st.
Shane, there's some young coaches that as they get into their, first tenure, if you will, they stop calling plays after a period of time. Is that something you've thought about at all?
No, right now I continue to call the plays right now.
And I guess why not?
Why not? I feel like, that's kind of what got me the job, in the first place, and I don't want to lose that. So right now, that's where it's at.
I know you mentioned wanting to get better at leadership. I know over in the off season you talked to a lot of different head coaches.
Yeah,
Who are
absolutely.
some of the best leaders you think that you've been around?
Well, the head coaches that I've been around, I got a lot of respect. Guys, you heard me say this when I got hired as Norv Turner. I got a ton of respect for him and the leadership. He was a 3-time NFL head coach, and just the way, he respected the room when he walked in there. Obviously, and the offensive mind that he had instant credibility with those guys. And I think it comes down to a lot of times is having success too. When you build that success and you build that rapport and you win a lot of football games with your guys, you build that credibility, along the way.
Shane, you mentioned at the end of the season you felt like the team was close.
Yeah.
Chris Ballard came out a couple days later. We're not close.
Yeah.
Obviously, probably semantics, but just how have you all talked about where the state of the team is right now versus where you want to go?
Yeah, I think here's what when I say we're close, we're close to making the playoffs. You know what I mean? First year we were a play away. Last year we're a game or two away to where we need to find that. Whatever it may be, we're going into year 3. I'm going into year 3. Is taking that next step and just getting over that hump. And because once you get in, you never know what can happen in the playoffs. So I think we got to do a great job of continuing to build, this off season. Looking at a lot of different things on how we do things, how we do training camp, how I do the off season, all those semantics that go into it. So we can get over that hump right there.
Shane, have you changed on how you, sort of lean on some of these veterans, guys like Kenny Moore, DeForest Buckner after the comments last year, just in an off-season like this?
Yeah, absolutely. We have when the season ends, I meet with every player in my office, and I kind of get their thoughts on the season and how it went, and I give them my thoughts, and we go from there. But those veteran leaders in our locker room, I think that's huge. I think some of the best teams that I've been on, that player-led locker room is huge. It's a success. And so when you got guys like that, really good leaders, they're going to hold guys accountable in that locker room. When the coaches aren't around, I think that goes a long way.
Was there a general theme that came up from those off-season meetings with the players?
I just think with anything, right? When you don't make the playoffs, right? Everyone's frustrated because that's the ultimate. The ultimate goal is to win the Super Bowl, but you want to get in and give yourself a chance. So when you fall a little short, there is frustration there, obviously with everybody. But obviously we're trying to take the next step so we don't, let that happen.
Shane, you said last one that you learned from the adversity in the season last year. I guess what specifically did you walk walk away from and think I should have been better here? If this happens again, I would do this.
Yeah, for me to say that right now, I think just there were some things that happened throughout the season. You know what I mean? Obviously, with some of the things that went on that you guys know about that I'm not going to bring up again. But obviously, you learn from those, and so it's like, shoot, for me as a leader, just setting the standard even more clear. You know what I mean? Is reiterating the standard over and over again, and not saying it at the start of training camp and saying it at the start of the season, but it's a reminder. Hey, every 2 weeks of this is the standard, and this is how we operate.
So more behind the scenes, less
Correct.
public facing.
Correct.